All right, well, welcome. Thank you for being here. This is our second day of CS Ed Week, and we are hosting a panel of female coders today, this evening. And I'd like to welcome Joycelyn Chan and Naya Avelina Bautista. Both are female coders and have offered to share their perspective and their learning in this space. And so we're gonna ask a few questions, have it open-ended, and anyone who joins can put questions in the chat and or in the Q&A, and we can offer those questions as well to our panelists. So let's start out. Just go ahead and we'll have you introduce yourselves, and then just tell us, a little bit about you, and then we'll move into some of the questions. So Joycelyn, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. Hi, everyone. My name is Joycelyn. I'm a senior computer science student at San Francisco State University. And some hobbies of mine are building Legos, and I also like to play a Chinese instrument called the guzheng.
Thank you. Naya?
Hi guys, my name is Naya Bautista. I am also a senior studying computer science at San Francisco State University. And some hobbies of mine include surfing and dancing.
Great, thank you. So first question we have is just, can you describe the journey that brought you into the computer science major?
I can go first. So in high school, I took an after-school program that taught me HTML and CSS. And that was around the time I had to apply for college too. And I wasn't sure what major to go in, but through that program, I was like debating if I should go into math or computer science. And I eventually picked computer science because after finishing that program, had developed a passion for web development.
And then for me, I'm originally from San Diego, so I wasn't very familiar within the tech field, and I always wanted to take some sort of technology class in high school, and I wasn't able to because they never provided an AP computer science class at my high school. So I took one that was at a local community college that was counted as credit towards my transcript. And it didn't really include a lot of coding. It was mostly hardware. And what I found most interesting was when they did an introduction to Java class. And that's kind of what stuck. And that was between, I think, sophomore and junior year. So it was when I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do, because I knew I wanted to be some sort of engineer, but I didn't necessarily wanted to do chemical engineer or anything like that. So that's how I found my route.
Thank you. What you kind of spoke of some of the moments that impacted your choice to go into computer science, but is there anything more that has really impacted your decision to stay in computer science too? Because now you're senior, so you're in the end of your journey in the computer science major. Are there any big moments or any things outside that kind of impacted that decision to continue?
Joycelyn, did you want to go?
I'm still thinking, so you can go first.
I can go. So for me, I think it was mostly during the pandemic. That was basically right at the start of my college career. And I was still very introductory. I didn't know a lot. And I feel like the pandemic really gave me more insight of the tech field, because it also gave me more time to kind of venture out and see what I found myself interested, because you can go definitely a lot of routes, like web development. You can also do something creative with it. There's also more of a leadership aspect to tech. And I guess something that really inspired me to keep continuing computer science is basically the pandemic, where I got to actually learn more and to focus on different career paths that I'm now interested in.
I feel like what kept me going and being interested in computer science was watching a lot of influencers like describe like what their day in the life of a tech girly is. And I felt really captivated by their schedules and their fun projects. And so, yeah, that's what made me want to continue in computer science.
Oh yeah, and I wanted to add to that. I did see a lot of influencers and I noticed that a lot of them like are able to travel sometimes. And for me, when I'm obviously older, I would want to travel. And with tech, you can obviously bring your workspace anywhere. And I feel like that's a great aspect towards it.
Awesome, awesome. So it sounds like there was a lot of like the openness and the diversity of your choices that the computer, like being a computer science major, kind of opens those doors to other opportunities that could go down the path that you're most interested in.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. And then Joycelyn, you also mentioned about like females in the tech industry, and I'm curious more about those impacts and the diversity of that or lack of diversity of that, because we do know computer science is very dominated by male. And how has that impacted your journey as well, and or maybe impacted in a way that opened doors too? If you could speak more about that, that would be great.
Yeah, I definitely feel pressured, like, for example, in an operating system class that I've taken this semester, in the class of 49 students, I'd say about only 7 are girls. And so sometimes I feel like I'm unable to connect with the other students because there are just so many males in the room. And but I've made a lot of female friends this semester, I think, being that classes are back to in person. And yeah.
Yeah, to add on to that, I do understand what Joycelyn is saying because I remember my first year entering like my first introduction to Java class. I entered the classroom and then I realized that there's not a lot of women in my classroom, and it took a lot out of me to understand that this is a male dominated field. Even working in like group projects to this day, I still have to make sure that I'm putting my voice out there because it does get overshown by a lot of like male dominated voices. And it also helps to see a lot of like some of my professors that are women to see that I am represented. And so it's a lot of influencers or things that I see online that keep me going with that.
So to tie into that, so this is going to be a space where your voice is being heard by hopefully other humans that are interested in this, whatever their background is and who they are as humans. And so what would you give them as advice in knowing that, you had those challenges, but you've worked through them? What are some things that, if you could look back and think about when you first started your journey that helped you get through, or maybe you wish someone had also told you when you were starting that could have, that.
I would say just continue doing what you love doing. Don't let like other people influence your thoughts. Yeah, just keep pushing through and don't let what other people say get to you. Even though there are a lot of guys here, not a lot of girls. You just got this.
Yeah, I completely agree. I do want to add on that I want to tell other people that they aren't alone. There are a lot of us that want to keep rooting for you. And what Joycelyn said, to not let anyone belittle you because you're definitely worth it and you do belong there. Because I know from experience that I felt a lot of imposter syndrome where I just felt like I didn't belong in the community. And I just want to let other women that are also starting to code that there is a place for you. You just have to keep pushing and keep finding what inspires you.
Can I ask a question, Kristen? So do you have advice after the time you've spent so far in CS and in coursework and all of that? Do you have advice for people who want to champion the role of women and girls in computer science? I mean, what would you tell somebody who wants to encourage girls to go into not just coding, but any technology or computer science related field?
I would say to not be afraid to just go for it, even though there is a lot of coding parts to technology. As I said before, there are a lot of routes that you can go into where you can find a spot within the tech community. It's not just purely coding. There are a lot of like leadership roles. And even if you are into like designing websites, you can also go in that route. But it's really just finding like your own little niche and then just keep pursuing that and not letting anyone belittle you and just keep pushing.
Yeah, I agree with that. And one advice I have also is to start early as soon as you can, because personally, like I started learning the higher up languages in college, and I wish that I learned some of that in high school to prepare me for the coursework in college.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Even just finding like small like lessons online, or even just like utilizing YouTube just to find some sort of lessons there. It's a really great resource. And honestly, the internet is your best friend when it comes to computer science. You can honestly find like a lot of answers to anything that you're looking for, and anything outside of just coursework at school. You can honestly do it from your laptop at home.
What would you tell like a high school counselor, a guidance counselor, or a parent who is interested in their daughter getting involved in computer science, but maybe she can't see herself as a computer scientist, maybe she's not familiar with people in the field or whatever. What advice might you give a parent or a high school counselor?
That's a good question. Parent.
Yeah. If I was a parent, I want to get my child into computer science, I would probably prompt them with YouTube videos of coding, or you could go to code.org. I know that's a great website to get children interested in computer science, because I taught a group of students at Roosevelt Middle School how to code in HTML and CSS. And they enjoyed it really a lot. So
Yeah, code.org is also a great resource. For me as a parent, knowing how my parents are, they would probably talk about the money aspect, even though it is not necessarily like the best thing to do, like going into it straight for the money, but it is sort of like a good push just to say that there is some sort of thing that where it's like worth it, because you do get a good amount of money for being a software engineer and just learning anything about tech. Because I heard that even when you don't even get like a computer science degree, you're still going to learn some sort of coding. I remember my pre-calc teacher from like high school, she told me that her daughter went to Princeton and she was like in law school, and now she's still learning like basic HTML or something like that. So it can really go into any industry, and at some point you might have to learn a little bit. So I would definitely say that.
Thank you.
I think connecting to that too, I'm thinking about yesterday we had a panel of some of your peers actually from your class that were graduating or in their senior year as well. And they were talking about the other skills that you do, that you learn and you are able to work in. Kind of, you talked about leadership. Like, what are some other skills that within this computer science just isn't just about coding, right? It's not just about learning the languages. There's a lot more to computer science. So I'm wondering if you can kind of share some of those things that then can help you and support you in a field that computer science can benefit that field.
Oh, definitely. I would say in terms of like designing, a lot of people go into the UX UI field where you are basically designing websites and you think about like the user experience of how a user would kind of like you view a website and what would be more visually appealing towards certain people and also what would work for the company. I know a lot of people that do go into that route as well from being a computer science major. And then also something that I personally am more interested in is program or project management, which is where you're still working with like software engineers and people that do code, but it's more of a leadership role where you're still able to know some of the technicalities of everything, but it's you guiding to accomplish a certain project for a website or for a certain company.
Yeah, adding on to that, teamwork plays a big part in computer science. Majority of the classes you take in college, you're required to work in groups, and then throughout the semester, you come up with a big project, and then at the end of the semester, you'll have to present it as a whole group.
So you're learning collaboration and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And learning how to trust each other, right? And be able to lean on your peers to work together.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else you're thinking about that you think would be important to share around, just being in your space? What are I guess something else I'm thinking about too is what is your next steps? Like how much longer do you have at SFSU and what are your next steps? What are your plans for next steps?
Well, my fall semester is about to end and winter break is coming. And so I thought I would use that time to study on some leak code, some interview questions, and probably read some books about product management because that's what I also want to go into as well.
Yeah. Fall semester is coming to an end, final season is coming, but I think also during the break, I'll try to study some leak code if I find the time and also build my portfolio. I think that's another thing that not a lot of people know about is that once you are in college, or even if like beforehand, just start building your own projects, even if it's tiny, because that will build up your portfolio. And that's what most people want to see on your resume. And that's honestly something that I slacked on during my college experience. So definitely want to catch up on that and then finishing out my college career and then hopefully get a job or internship.
What would your dream jobs in CS be? Like if you've been studying, now you have the chance, or very soon you'll have the chance to put these skills to practice in a real world career. What would you like that to be?
My dream job would probably be a product manager. Yeah. For the highest, I guess a senior product manager.
Yeah, I agree. I do want to be a software engineer, but I know eventually I would want to do like project management. And then my dad actually just told me that there is some sort of like parallel to being a project management, which is called like a technical director in the film industry. And I guess that's another route that people can go if they're super into like film development. So yeah, mostly leadership roles career-wise.
Awesome.
you.
And have either of you done internships through your college time, or is that something that you don't do at SFSU?
I haven't done an internship yet.
I did an internship last summer at a startup. It was a great experience. I just think that it wasn't a typical internship that most people go through. So
But it probably helped inform like more of what you want to do eventually.
Yeah.
Kind of. Awesome. Well, thank you both for your time tonight. We really appreciate you being on here and answering these questions and offering some advice to our our younger generation of those, or even those that are in mid-career and deciding to go back to computer science, hopefully this will be helpful to them and inspire them to move on and to move forward with their choices. And thank you for being brave and sticking with it. And especially when you didn't have any experience prior to, and just jumping in and being vulnerable in that space. We appreciate that. And we appreciate you pushing forward, and we wish you a lot of luck in what you're doing next.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
So,
for having us.
yeah, of course.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.